Welcome to the future home of Ulster BOCES, Career Pathways, Programs, and Academy. I'm Jonah Schenker, and it's my privilege to be the District Superintendent at Ulster BOCES. I'd like to thank everyone who has played a part in bringing this vision to life. This project truly represents what is possible when a community comes together to pull in the same direction for a common cause. I am so grateful to the Ulster BOCES Board of Education, our Ulster County Superintendents, their boards, our educators, partners, and community members for supporting the bold steps this project takes to ensure that Ulster County provides viable pathways and access for all students to reach their full potential. I also want to send a big shout out to my leadership team, support staff at Ulster BOCES, as well as the team at National Resources. Without them, we would not be here today. I want to give a special thank you to our speakers today, Secretary Miguel Cardona, Congressman Pat Ryan, County Exec Jen Metzger, and my boss, Commissioner Rosa, for taking time to celebrate this milestone with us. Thank you so much. This project brings so much power and potential to reshaping opportunities for our students and community. While I could speak about this all day, I will share 3 specific ways that capture the essence of our vision. First, the Sustainable Ulster Workforce Innovation Center, which the County Exec will speak about, is a collaboration between county government, P12 educators, and our 2- and 4-year SUNY colleges in partnership with business and community. This represents the commitment to bring together entities that have historically not been aligned. This work will build a cohesive map for all of Ulster County and meaningful and viable pathways to a vibrant future for all. This is what P20 looks like. Second, the Ulster BOCES Career Pathways Academies at iPark will redefine what it means to pursue a career in technical education in New York. While this exciting expansion will provide a state-of-the-art career and technical center to Ulster County students, what it truly represents is something different. It represents an educational experience that is designed and informed not only by what the New York State education standards drive, but also by the unmet needs of industry and community in Ulster County and beyond. Amplifying these voices serves to inform us of the skills and technologies needed to produce the very workforce they desire. Finally, as we relocate our current Pathways programs to iPark 87, we will have the gift of space for us to continue our work on equity and access on behalf of all students. Our current Port Ewan site will be transformed into a middle high school campus to serve our growing special education student population, or what we like to call our students with superpowers. This pre-technical, project and process-based center will be both a lab school for our educators to learn from, as well as home to ensure that the same skills and life-ready educational experiences are being delivered to some of our county's most wonderfully complex and historically marginalized students. Again, I want to thank you for being here today. Thank you for all your continued support, and I am extremely grateful that I have been given this opportunity to lead this work alongside my team at Ulster BOCES, as well as all of you. It is my honor and privilege to introduce our County Executive, Jen Metzger.
We're practicing our dance moves. Good morning, everyone. I want to offer our warmest welcome to Secretary Cardona, Commissioner Rosa, New York State Deputy Secretary for Education, Maria Fernandez, and our great Congressman and my predecessor in this job, Pat Ryan. We are honored by your presence, as well as the presence of all of the educational leaders and advocates and local and county officials in the room with us today. We're shaking things up in Ulster County because we need to forge new models for education and workforce development that meet the needs of the moment we're in. The relocation of Ulster BOCES Career Pathways Academy to iPark 87 is going to unlock unprecedented educational and job opportunities for its graduates. And I want to commend Dr. Schenker for his incredible vision and leadership. Just next door, the county's Economic Development Alliance has recently leased 40,000 square feet of space for the Sustainable Ulster Workforce Innovation Center, a collaboration of county government, SUNY New Paltz, SUNY Ulster, and community-based partners, business, and labor. Together with Ulster BOCES, we're creating a hub of workforce development for every age and a runway into meaningful family-sustaining jobs for our people. The sweltering heat outside is a reminder that we need a revolutionary shift in our economy to reduce the severity of climate change and protect our children's future. The Biden administration and our Congressman, Pat Ryan, understand this and have passed historic legislation, including the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, to drive the changes we need. Here in Ulster County, we're committed to driving this change locally, and the workforce hub we're creating here will be a magnet for the kinds of job-creating investments that will put us on a sustainable path. The goal is to create a thriving, resilient, and sustainable Ulster County and region that leaves no one behind. I want to close by sharing that we wouldn't be standing here at all if it wasn't for Congressman Pat Ryan, who, when he served as county executive, had the vision and commitment to take this, what was essentially an IBM graveyard, move a plan forward for its remediation, and shepherd the property into the new hands of National Resources, who I also want to give a shout out because they've been great partners in this process. He laid the foundation for all we're doing today and remains fiercely committed to helping drive the change we need. It is my great honor and pleasure to introduce my friend, our Congressman, Pat Ryan. Thank you.
Hey everybody, that was loud. I'm excited. I mean, this is awesome. Truly, truly awesome. I can't see everybody's faces because it's a little dark in here, but I can see most everybody. And actually, as I was coming up, the Secretary, and we're so excited to have you here, Secretary, to have you here, Commissioner, he said, man, it seems like this is an all hands on deck kind of team here. And I said, absolutely, because things like this just do not happen without a healthy balance of optimism and hope and pragmatism that you have to kind of fight through a lot of the forces. So I just want to thank the Secretary for making the time. He was here not that long ago in the Hudson Valley with the First Lady in Dutchess County on a similar mission and theme. Of course, want to thank the Commissioner of Education and all the state that's invested. We've got our leaders from SUNY Ulster, SUNY New Paltz. I see many of our other colleagues in state government, Senator Michelle Hinchy, Assemblyman Jacobson, and we just have a really special and really awesome team here. And the last time we did, or not the last time, but one of the first times actually, we did a big event here to sort of tell the community what we were doing. Does anybody remember the temperature? I think it was sub-zero Arctic temperatures as we stood outside under the old clock tower building with Joe Cotter and the incredible team at National Resources. And we said, we are going to change the history here, the trajectory here, because my whole lifetime growing up in this community, I grew up in Kingston, we were really pretty head down, feeling kind of hopeless about the future here. My grandpa actually worked at this site for 36 years as an IBM employee, and then we all know how devastating a gut punch it was when they sort of pulled the rug out from under us in one fell swoop. And for many decades, I remember driving by here as a kid, and our Kingston mayor, my high school classmate, Steve Noble, who's here, can remember, there was just a sense that it was just kind of gonna be impossible. But I'm really proud and truly could not have imagined that not that long since that freezing cold day, we're now here on a sweltering hot day, although it's not too bad in here, to mark a significant step forward. Not just, and I'm going to talk about BOCES in a moment and what's going to be built here, but at this site, in Ulster County, in the Hudson Valley, to really say, we are not going to put our heads down anymore, and despite a lot of the reasons to be pessimistic and cynical about a lot of things in our country and our world right now, we are leaning into optimism and positivity at this site. And I have a 2- and 4-year-old boys. For the first time in my life, I can actually envision that they could come here and get their education, they can come here and work, they can hopefully take care of me and my wife as we move into that phase whenever that comes. And that's a big deal. That's something to just be so proud of. And it could not, you're very, very kind, County Executive Metzger, but this was truly a team effort and an all hands on deck effort. So just everybody in the room, let's just take a minute to take a deep breath and appreciate all the work, all the teamwork. Please give yourself a loud round of applause for how far we've come to get to this point. And I have to embarrass Dr. Schenker a little bit, in a good way. When we were first sitting, we sat on, I remember, folding chairs over across the street on the other side of Enterprise Drive in another part of the campus with some of our, a few different people, but leaders of these important partners and institutions, and we were sort of brainstorming with Joe Cotter and the team what could happen here. And my dream, my literal dream and hope, was that we could convince BOCES and convince all the districts that make up BOCES, which is a hard thing to do, to have a big and pretty bold vision and open the aperture and say, we are gonna really plant the flag here, build this foundational layer of a new and exciting approach of career and technical education that BOCES has been doing forever, that's in your all's DNA, but that will really position the county and especially the young people that we got to just hang out with before this, really position them and hopefully my kids and all of our kids and grandkids for success. And to take on that, it's a significant risk, in many dimensions, financially, I'm sure stress, and real political risk to go out and convince multiple school districts to do something that they're not used to doing. That's not easy. And Dr. Schenker, you and your team, and Dr. Corey before you that was involved in these critical conversations, you believed from the very, very beginning, all of our school district leadership, and I see many of our board members and board presidents, it took a leap of faith. And so to be here today, to see that risk rewarded, which is, I think, foundational to who we are as a country, and certainly who we are as a community in the Hudson Valley, it's a big deal. So I'm just so, I'm so proud and so excited, and I'll just say there's a lot more work to do, a lot more work to do. We love breaking ground, but we really love cutting ribbons, opening doors, having students here, having educators here, having funding to make sure that that continues. So all of us elected officials, all of us community members, we're going to continue to have the back of you, Dr. Schenker, of BOCES, most importantly of our kids and our students and the future generations. And so again, that's our down payment and our commitment, and make sure to hold me accountable to that as we continue to go forward here. The last thing I just want to say before I introduce the commissioner I meant to say this up front, I apologize. On the way over, I was talking to the current representative for the area where we do sit right now, Congressman Mark Molinaro, and I just wanted to make sure he couldn't make it, but I just wanted to acknowledge him, and he and his team have been helpful, and I think we've got some representation from his office here, I believe. They've been really helpful. Thank you. And look, if we let our kids' education and our kids' future and projects like this become partisan, we are failing. And I'm so proud that this is a real visceral example of doing the right thing, transcending so many of the divisive forces right now, and that's something we should be proud of as well. Now it is my honor to welcome up our New York State Commissioner of Education, Dr. Betty Rosa. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support, and please come on up.
So, good morning and buenos dias. Oh, let's try it again. Buenos dias. Thank you for that. So first, I'm going to use the loving name of Jonah because we know him as Jonah. And I have to tell you, the day I interviewed him for this position was the day that I knew that he was really going to be, not somebody said a superstar, somebody who contributes, always has a smile on his face, and he rides the train can do. And I have to tell you, I have 37 amazing superintendents that constantly, always, whenever we meet, and I meet with them every month, and the comment is always, of course we can do this. He really stands out. The smile is always there. He innovates. He teaches as well as his leadership teaches the rest of us and the group different ways of thinking about these issues. When he said the fact that P20 and what it looks like, we are, as a department, very focused on the need to think about these solutions in a P20 approach. We need everyone, we need commitment, we need resources, and we need to remember that we have to invest in our students up front because the end result and the payout after is extremely painful and expensive. So for all of us collectively, we are a unique state where we have the kind of structure that we do, and we have the kind of commitment, as the exec said, to collaboration, and that it really, really, truly takes all of us to get this work done. It's not, we always say in our department, we either win as a team or we lose as a team. So this is a very special event because from the moment Jonah started to share this and have the conversations about his conversations with your work, Jonah, was brought to us with the idea of we can do this. We have to do a lot of pre-work before students get into high school. We are also on a venture of redesigning in the state our graduation measures, and CTE sits right there at the core. And I have to tell you that the beauty of this is that we have been engaging in looking at CTE and what it does in terms of preparing our students. And the standards work becomes alive, it's ignited, it's exciting because it becomes applied learning. Our students want that kind of learning across the board. So we're trying to make this very much a part of the fabric for all students, and that is our ultimate goal. So with that, I get to welcome and really talk about someone who's really, truly, not only his personal experience, but committed to our state, because he spends a great deal of time. Every time I get a call from Washington, oh, he's in Westchester, he's in, he's upstate, he's in Dutchess, so forth and so on. So I do know that he passionately cares about all states, but he particularly cares about New York State, and really, truly, we're extremely grateful for that. He absolutely not only makes the kind of commitment that he makes to this issue, but we also have in the governor's office Maria Fernandez, who really every single day, I don't think there's a day that goes by. I mean, there are days that I call her and she answers the phone. She goes, oh, what does she want now? But she's always ready to support us at all costs. So part of this is really reimagining, repurposing spaces, integrating the technology. It is absolutely a huge commitment to our graduation measures, redefining our high school diploma, our portrait of a graduate. iPark 87 aligns perfectly with it. And more importantly, to have a champion like our secretary is truly, for us, a blessing. And we are not only grateful that he's here with us today, but that he is constantly, as he knows, I call Chris Soto all the time, whenever we're looking for support. And I have to tell you, there's always the word presente. So it is my distinct honor to introduce our U.S. Secretary of Education. I am so delighted that when he took this position, I listened to his speech, and by the way, we are still in the process of trying to figure this one out. I know his family's from Aguada, and I know that his grandmother, his name was Rosa, and he keeps telling me, he says the look is there. So at some point, I think we probably will find out that there's some intersection of families. But I am, even as we explore that possibility, I am so absolutely grateful, I'm honored, and I'm always delighted to have him in our home. And with that, U.S. Secretary Cardona.
Thank you. Wow, this is a celebration for sure. And not just because this looks like a wedding venue right now or a rave, but this is a celebration of something pretty special. Good morning, Ulster County. How are you? Feeling good? All right. Thank you, Commissioner Rosa, for that warm introduction. I literally flew in from Puerto Rico yesterday, and I was with some of the Rosas, my family, and we were celebrating, we were chatting, and you fit right in there. We have to figure that out, because I know that there is a connection there. The first Latina woman to serve as Commissioner of Education for the state of New York. Let's give that a round of applause. Thank you for your exemplary leadership, for pulling up the ladder behind you for the next generation as well. Gracias por invitarme. And Congressman Ryan, for your leadership, your vision, for the connection. We've been wanting to get together in a visit, and I'm thankful that we have the opportunity to do it here today. You really get it, and having worked not only as Congressman, but also previously at the county exec level, you understand the ingredients that are needed to make this work. And as I said to you when we were walking out, it's clear that the foundation of interdependence has been set, and I know you played a very big role there. Maria, great to see you again. Jen Metzger, thank you for your leadership and your understanding of the opportunities that exist with federal legislation. it means nothing if it doesn't translate into opportunities at the local level, and your work there matters. And all the county, industry, and higher education leaders here today, I know there are board members here, thank you. Most importantly, the students. Where are those students that I met a little while ago? I know this group doesn't need a reminder, but for me, what is the North Star? It's students. Why do we sign up for this? Because of students. So I would ask the students, those who I met, and if there are other students who are recently graduated or part of the program, could you please come up so that when I'm speaking, we can see why we're doing what we're doing. Come on up, come on up. Don't be shy. Just stay right here and keep smiling because you're going to be in pictures. Why don't we do this? Why don't we have some on this side here too? Yeah, maybe 3 or 4. Look, they're not only our future, they are our present. So it's really important that when we talk about what we're talking about, that we ground what we're talking about in these faces, in their futures. Folks, I often say, in this administration, we could brag about, I always say substance over sensationalism. There's substance, whether it's the CHIPS and Science Act, the bipartisan infrastructure plan that's touching every community in this country, the climate provisions under the Inflation Reduction Act that are going to create millions of jobs. I want to go from policy to people. When we talk about those things, think of their faces. They're the beneficiaries of it. So it's really important for me to ground everything in the potential of our students and the opportunities that we're providing to our students. I know some of them recently graduated or are graduating. Raise your hand if you've graduated already. One. Raise your hand if you're going to graduate very soon. All right, let's give them a round of applause. And one thing that I learned a little while ago talking to students, you learn a lot when you talk to students. One thing that I learned is in this community, there's no such thing as senioritis. Right? See that? Look at it. No, I really hope you recognize how important this day is for this community. Our country should be proud and hopeful about the future because of tremendous accomplishments like Ulster BOCES at iPark 87. Today we're going to shovel dirt, where tomorrow students will build batteries and windmills. They'll run cables for fiber optics. They'll package dairy and produce films. Today we meet on ground where tomorrow futures will be forged. Thousands of new careers in a workforce that's built to solve 21st century challenges like transitioning to clean energy future. And this will happen in ways that can sustain lives and economies right here in the Hudson Valley. The Ulster BOCES Career Pathways Academies, the Sustainable Ulster Workforce Innovation Center, and the Ulster BOCES Career and Technical Center, they are transformational. The investments and the partnerships that make today possible are part of this region's story, part of the state's story. They're a shining example of this administration's goals to redefine career pathways and career success. For far too long, and I'm speaking to the choir here, for far too long in this country, we've normalized a narrow pathway to opportunity. In this country, we've had a 4-year college or bust mentality that has really not served our students well. Here at Ulster BOCES, you've been breaking out of that mentality long before you've broken ground here today. You've got high school students earning college credits through partnerships with local colleges and universities. 144 local businesses involved in curriculum development. That's powerful. 144 local businesses. More than 200 young professionals are in paid internships. So basically, you're doing the things that we're trying to get done across the country. I visited 48 states in the last 3 years, and you are further along the continuum in development, where we're trying to introduce a lot of these concepts. You're getting it done already, and you're really leading the pack. You're offering professional development workshops for your educators. Your programs are future-focused and inclusive full of programming for students with special needs, and a focus on equitable access and the development of the whole student. This center is a bright new addition to the upstate New York region, a dynamic place, and one of President Biden's 4 new workforce hubs. Communities around the country receiving targeted investment and commitments from industry as part of our Investing in America agenda. And I visited some other, I talked to the vice president of Intel that brought $2 billion into Columbus, Ohio, because he knew that the education program was going to feed into Intel. I was in Idaho and speaking to Micron there, and they had an education plan, and they're bringing $15 billion into the local economy. Look, this works. And it works in places where our education leaders and our county leaders and our congressional leaders understand the important work, foundational work that education has. We have to evolve our systems to meet the demand of today and tomorrow, and that's what you're doing here. Companies are investing hundreds and billions in this region in recognition not only its strength and potential in the semiconductor manufacturing, but the strength and potential of its educators and training providers as well. Make no mistake, career and technical education is economic development. It really is. Yeah. When I was a commissioner of education in Connecticut, I would tell the governor, a good education system is your best economic lever. And I mean that. And now with the policies at the federal level and the hundreds of billions of dollars available for workforce development, it's really clear. You want to engage students? Give them options as they're coming up. You want to keep students in your community, building your community, and not leaving? Give them roots through your education system to intern, to really understand what role they have in the community. This is economic development, but it's also community development. We want these students to continue to grow this community. How do we do that? We get them early and show them the role that they have in the development of this area. And that's what you're doing here. That's what we're celebrating. That's why when we talk about policies or grants or this or that, we're talking about these students giving back, coming back, and being looked at as the future of this community. We need schools and training programs to evolve as quickly as the demands of today's workforce. We know we can't wait to open the microchip plant or the auto body shop or the restaurant and then start talking about workforce training. Here in New York, it's state policy that students can earn credit for graduation for work-based learning activities. Here in New York State, you've built accountability standards for college and career readiness. Commissioner Rosa, in the conversations that we've had, one of the things I've really appreciated is how you're able to see the vision across K-12, higher education, the business community. In a lot of places, we're developing that understanding. Oftentimes in education, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. We have a K-12 system that doesn't always talk to the higher ed system. And then we have workforce partners and labor who are seeking employees, but they're not connected to the colleges or they're not connected to the K-12 system. And we have opportunities here. Our vision is to lead the world in this space. We're going to make things here in America. And when we do that, we have to make sure that our systems are talking to each other. Betty gets that. There's an interdependence here that I think is a model for the country. The relationships that are forged in between events like these are the ones that make sure these things keep happening. All this reflects the U.S. Department of Education's highest aspirations for career and technical education. And as the Congressman said, this is a purple issue, man. This is a purple issue. There is no partisanship here. That's a waste of time. That's hurting them. We need to recognize this is good for everyone. To make this happen, as leaders, all of you have had to break out of silos and collaborate intentionally. At the Ulster BOCES employer, Ulster BOCES employers help develop training and curriculum so students have both the skills and the connections to transition right into the family-sustaining jobs. That kind of partnership should be a model for high schools, for career and technical education centers, for colleges, for local leaders and businesses across the country. Look, when I get invited to different places, we look to see, like, what do they bring to the table that's unique and different? I think the infrastructure that you have, the behind the scenes infrastructure, the relationships, all of you in the room have a role here. That to me is what I want to lift up in my visit today. That's what I wish we could bottle and share across the country. The work that you do behind the scenes, right? To make sure those relationships are there, to make sure that the curriculum is influenced by what you believe the needs are, the skills are. You know, these are things that you have developed that I want to see across the country. We live in a time where too many leaders claim that they alone could solve our country's challenges. But as I said before, we need systems, not superheroes. We need systems that can outlast the people that are leading it now, and I believe you have that here. What you built here is a system that's going to transform your local economy and change countless students' lives. Be proud of that. That's worth celebrating. And then stay in the conversation with each other, with your business partners and the administration. We want to hear about the successes. We want to hear about best practices. We want to know their stories 4 or 5 years down the road. We want to hear about the lessons learned, the challenges that you've had. You know, it reminds me a little bit of when we were reopening schools across the country, right? We were all tasked with reopening schools. And when we were doing it in Connecticut, the districts that were most successful were the districts that learned from someone else's mistakes. We have an opportunity here to lead the world in this work. We have the opportunity to really engage students in ways that we haven't. Like, let's face it, we need to evolve our schools, evolve our high schools to make sure that this is the norm, not the exception. And this is an opportunity for the rest of the country to learn from you. Know that this chapter of the iPark 87 story, of the Hudson Valley story, will be the best one yet. I want to congratulate you and I want to thank you. And before I turn it over to Dr. Schenker, I recognize that I was told by one of his students and one of his fans that he's also a karate coach. Did you know that? So in addition to being a sharp dresser, a great leader, I think part of the reason why people can't say no to him is because he knows karate. And, you know, I talk a lot about systems and superheroes, that if we rely on superheroes, then when the superhero leaves, does the system fall apart? True success happens when you have superheroes that know how to build systems. And that's what you have here. That's why I'm proud to be here. Really excited to see this work develop. Really excited to be here to celebrate this groundbreaking, and I look forward to the continued success here. Let's give it up for our students. Thank you very much. All right, thank you, thank you. All right, thank you. You guys can have a seat. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Don't leave, don't leave, don't leave.
Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thank you.
Secretary said we need students on stage. That means you got to stay. So I'll just take a minute to close us out here. Following these closing remarks, if we could have our speakers exit first for the groundbreaking ceremony, and then we can bring other folks out there, and we'll be right through those doors. I am humbled by all of your remarks and support. Thank you. Thank you so much. Again, as Secretary mentioned, I get to stand up here and talk, but this is the work of an agency, of a community, of our leadership team, and all of our support staff to create these structures and systems so that it isn't human dependent, that as we move on, this infrastructure stays. And so before I close out, I'd just like to reiterate that through this project, we are talking about redefining economic and workforce development and centering it around what it truly is. Economic and workforce development is equity work, it is access work, and it is belonging work. In most models, this work typically focuses on the adults in our community. Ulster BOCES at iPark 87 will shift that age-old model and begin to center the 20,000 plus students and their families at the core of this work and the future of this county. This shift will not diminish the work of our adult education focus or our higher education partners, but it will strengthen it. This shift will redefine how we have spoken about and labeled both career and technical education and special education programming. This shift will change the narrative about what success can and should look like, as defined previously by an archaic, singular academic path. This shift will change our lens of needing to re-engage a disengaged workforce, to graduating, educated, upskilled, capable students who are engaged and possess the skills that you have said you need. It will empower our students to be the architects to design their own future, one in which we are better off than we are today. This project, in partnership with our county schools, our county government, business and industry partners, our community higher education partners, will be a lighthouse for what is possible in New York and beyond. Thank you, and I invite you all to join us outside for our groundbreaking ceremony.